Joel at Up North Aquatics. Thanks for stopping by. It's been a month since we got our 3 different Livebearers, since I've started kind of focusing on them again. So let's check in. It's been a better than average month, I'd say. So let's just get started. Since we're on the topic of breeding, and I happen to spot one, that little white moving dot is about a 2-week-old white cloud fry, and there's another one right up here. Where are you? Oh, we just lost him. Anyway, figured we'd check in on the stuff that we've been doing first here, I guess. As always, female endlers, for whatever reason, that's all I get out of both of these 10-gallon tanks are females. I have no idea why. If somebody could explain that, that'd be cool. But yeah, one more spawn of white clouds, about 2 weeks old. Barely able to see, unless you can catch them right there. Pretty neat. And of course, since we just pulled a spawn out of the bucket, we have more adults in the bucket with just some Java moss to spawn into, a floating fake plant for some fry cover, and 1 cherry shrimp down in there. You can see a little glimpse of red in the floating plant, just to keep my eggs clean and eat any leftover food when I get fry in here and start feeding the fry, overfeeding the fry. So I feed those fry for about a week in the bucket, pretty heavy, and then I actually scoop them out with a cup because they still fit through the holes in the net. Throw more males and females in there after a water change and let them do their thing. But I suppose I should get to the Livebearers that we came here to talk about. Here are our high fin variatus platies. I figured we'd start with the good and work our way towards the bad, and then the one surprising one that we've managed to accomplish here. But yeah, these guys are exploding in population. Just stare straight at the screen and see how many little moving dots there are. Those are all fry that were live born in the tank, up in the grass where the pregnant females hang out, and then they kind of migrate between this spawning mop on the bottom and this floating grass up top, which is just hornwort, mixture of hornwort and not guppy grass, but mixture of hornwort, duckweed basically. And then once they get about this size, the size of all these ones down by this rock here, I know stellar camera work here, but once they get about this size, they know they won't fit in mom and dad's mouth anymore, and they come out and they start competing for food with the adults already. And these are, you know, maybe 3 weeks old, so it's not taking long here. I also feed very heavy 3 times a day. I have shrimp as a cleanup crew. I have lots of plants to help keep the water clean, and when I do water changes on this tank, it does get like almost 50%, just because we want to get them big, get them colored up, and get them gone. So for 1 month to have at least 5 times the population I started with Livebearers, that is some pretty fantastic numbers there. Again, these are the high fin variatus platies. Are not so good, that I'm not super stoked on, are the Guppies. I lost all the males and all the females except those 2. The good news is, I never medicated this tank. They all just like died right away. So I'm assuming maybe a parameter change or temperature change issue, maybe, killed them off. But these females have started dropping fry, which is concerning because they weren't with my males long enough, likely to have the fry be from the males I picked out. So I have no idea what I'm gonna get out of these fry. And I can't even see any on camera right now, just the females up there hanging out. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Definitely not be able to breed for the colors I want unless I get surprised. I do have my dark blue shrimp in here still. They are living their life in the rocks and in the grass. As the more the plants grow, the more babies of those will have survive, which is cool. So, but yeah, I mean, not fantastic. 1 baby right there. Don't mind my babe. Not fantastic, but I mean, it is what it is. I didn't lose, I mean, at least the females that I didn't lose are dropping fry, so it won't take long to get a good colony of these guys going. If you know guppies, you know guppies. It won't take long at all, but just gonna be a surprise to see what we get. This is the big surprise tank here. It comes in the form of just the regular platies we got, just a mishmash of males and females, no specific color, just got the ones that look the healthiest. Excuse me. Just got the ones that look the healthiest, really. And of course, the ones that look the healthiest that I was the most excited about here come home, start acting ridiculously lethargic, and start developing white spots, white fins, look like not ick, but some sort of fungus or bacteria. And I was like, cool, the ones I handpicked for health are all gonna die from some sort of infection. So I loaded the tank. Again, keep in mind there are shrimp, snails, and plants in here, and you can see how well those are doing. Loaded the tank with aquarium salt and Ic-X, and I stopped feeding for a week and a half. And during that week and a half, these guys started acting like normal old platies again, and they started dropping a ton of fry with no food and in the water and meds in the water like crazy. So that was a surprise. I know females, when they're in a stress situation, they can kind of like reabsorb their babies. There's one right there. Get my finger in there, right there. They can kind of like reabsorb their babies, or maybe they'll like kind of abort them and they won't survive because they're in a stress situation. They know their babies won't survive because there's meds in the water, or they're sick, or they're not getting fed, or in my case, a combination of all three. So for them to have such like healthy babies and for them to just heal up so quick, again, surprising, but I'm very very fortunate, because I thought for sure I was gonna lose all of these guys. So super stoked to have them. And somehow with all that salt in the water, my shrimp and snails like exploded in this tank with salt in the water, and my plants exploded, which if you know anything about inverts, they hate salt, and plants generally don't grow with salt. I know people say that it'll kill them, but in my experience it just kind of stops their growth. But they exploded, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but whatever Hail Mary pass I threw there worked. I mean, I knew the meds would work, or I had a feeling the meds would work for the fish, but somehow just the fact that they bred so successfully and are raising, I mean not raising, but they have babies in the tank that are doing so well, and that my inverts and plants, you know, didn't even stunt, they just kept on going. Yeah, this is a big surprise. So I think that's it. Okay, one last surprise. I traded some plants to my friend George for these gigantic, 3 of these gigantic mystery snails, apple snails, whatever you want to call them, it's all the same thing. And he says they're super prolific and they breed like crazy for him, and I haven't gotten any to breed like successfully down here at all, and I've had 4 different species. So I was like, well, whatever, I'll give them a shot. You know, George says they're good. I know that they're going good in our local water. Anyway, they've been in here for 6 hours and they're laying eggs. So if you don't know, mystery snails, they lay eggs out of water. Throw a lid on the tank so that the air above the water stays humid. The humidity is what allows the eggs to hatch, and the snails just drop right in and get this big in size pretty darn quick, as long as you have adequate food and clean water. So yeah, thanks George. This is a super cool and a lot different experience from what I've been having. So we'll keep up to date on them as well. And I guess we'll send you off with these 2 cute goldfish instead of my ugly mug again, like usual. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. Make sure to follow along for all sorts of cool fish stuff. I got plans in mind other than just breeding. There are some new fish I'm after, and including more fancy goldfish that I'm trying to get like softball size by putting them in tanks full of duckweed and still overfeeding the crap out of them. But yeah, I almost have 500 subscribers. You guys are awesome. Thank you, every single one of you. And as always, thanks for stopping by.